On the number line. Before we get started, what did the math teacher say after standing out in the cold? I am numb. Alright, so let's get started remembering some things that we learned last year in 6th grade. What is an integer? An integer, the integers are all the whole numbers and their negative opposites. This is a definition that you should have written in your math notebook. So right now take a second to pause this video and get this definition into your notebook. Let's add a little more to this definition so that it's clear what we mean. All of the whole numbers are the numbers like 0, 8, 9,000, even 8 million. And their negative opposites are all of the numbers in the whole number set, but with a negative sign. So for example, negative 8, or negative 8 million. Here's some numbers. Do you know which ones are integers and which ones are not? 10 is a whole number. So it's one of the whole numbers and their negative opposites. 10 is an integer. Negative 5 is the opposite of the whole number 5. Negative 1,365,425, that's an integer. This is not an integer because even though it's a negative, it is a fraction. This is a rational number, but it's not an integer. 0 is an integer, and 234 are integers. Integers are useful because we can use them to describe some real-world situations. For example, if Mr. Pfeiffer borrowed $20, he's now in debt. If I wanted to talk about how much money he has, I could write that as negative 20. If Miss Hensley is scuba diving 35 yards below sea level, and I wanted to talk about her altitude, that's how high she is, I could write her altitude as negative 35 yards. And if Dr. Eaton's taco truck earned $250 profit last week, this week the truck recorded a loss of $172, I could record everything that happened with her delicious taco truck with the statement 250 plus negative 172. You also remember that we can represent integers on a number line. For example, if I wanted to represent the integer negative 6, I know that it's to the left of 0 on the negative side of the number line, and it's to the left of negative 5 because it's smaller than negative 5. Negative 6 is right here. If I wanted to represent the integer 8, it's to the right of 0 over here because it's greater than 0, and it's to the right of 5 because it's greater than 5. Alright, so let's start adding some integers. You probably remember when you first learned addition, on the number line, addition means you're moving to the right because things are increasing. So go ahead in your notebook, give yourself that reminder. Addition means we're going to the right. Draw a little arrow so that you remember addition is going to the right. Okay, so if we put our like 2nd grade brains on, we wanted to solve this addition, 5 plus 3, we could show that very simply on a number line. Let's draw a quick number line, maybe with a pen that works. There we go. I'm going to put 0 on my number line, and then I'm going to make some equally spaced tick marks. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5. To add, I would start at my first number. So it would start at 0, and I would go to 5. And then to add 3, I'm just going to go to the right 3 more. So that's 1, 2, 3. and I end up at 8, which, of course, you know. But it gets a little more interesting when we hit middle school, and we start to see problems like this. 5 plus negative 3. What does that mean? Well, if you think back to 6th grade, we talked about how negative also means the opposite. So if you're adding, you're moving to the right if it's a positive number. But if it's a negative number, then you are doing the opposite. That means instead of to the right, adding a negative is going in the opposite direction. Give yourself this reminder. Adding a negative means you're going to the left. Let's look at what that actually looks like. Okay, so we're going to draw a number line to start out with, just like the last one. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. Always start at, let's actually zoom in some so it's a little clearer. We're going to always start with 0. Put some equally spaced tick marks. Each one of these is going to be 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to put some on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. Okay, just like the 2nd grade problem, we're going to start at 0 and go over to the 5. So now we're at positive 5, because we move over to the right, 5, and we're going to add negative 3. Instead of going to the right, adding a negative means we go in the opposite direction, so we have to go to the left. So I'm going to go to the left, 3, 1, 2, 3, which means I end up at 2, which is kind of weird at first because we're adding, but we got a smaller number. All right, let's try another one. Negative 4 plus 7. Let's start out with a number line. Remember to draw 0 in there first. Put in some equally spaced tick marks. I'm going to go up to 5 here. Down to negative 5 here. And the first number we need to start at is negative 4. So because it's a negative, that means we're at 0 and we're going to the left. We're starting below 0, to the left of 0. So negative 4 is 4 units to the left of 0. Right here. Let's write it in. And since we're adding 7, we're adding a positive, we're still going to go to the right, just like we learned way back when. So I'm going to go to the right 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means that negative 4 plus 7 is 3, which also kind of seems strange at first, because we're adding to negative 4, but we got 3, which seems like it's less than negative 4. Interesting. All right, let's do one more on the number line. Negative 3 plus negative 2. Just like all of the problems, we're going to start with a number line that has some nice equally spaced tick marks. And for these problems, we're going to continue with 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that's negative because it's on the left of the number line. Okay, so we're going to start out with negative 3, which is 3 units over to the left. 1, 2, 3. There's negative 3. And then we're adding a negative. That means instead of going to the right, like we usually do with adding, we're going in the opposite direction. We're adding a negative. So 1, 2, negative is being added, which means the solution is negative 5. Interesting. Maybe you already see a pattern with these numbers. If so, that's awesome, because that's going to help you as we move into harder problems. Even if you see a pattern, I still want you to draw the number line and think about the movement on the number line, because it's going to help you to understand what's happening with integer addition. Okay, it is time to check your understanding. What that means is you're going to pause the video, you're going to copy these 3 problems down, and you're going to solve each one using a number line. Once you've finished, enter your answers, and then use the rest of this video to check your work. Okay, number 1, 8 plus negative 5. I'm going to start out by drawing a number line. I'm going to put 0 in there, and I know I'm going to need at least 8 tick marks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go ahead and put 9, 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always like to put 5 in there. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. On the other side, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to stop at negative 5. All right, first step is to go to the first number. Beginning at 0, we're going to move over to 8. And the next step is to add negative 5, which means we go 5 in the opposite direction. So I'm right here, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which means the solution is 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next problem, negative 3 plus 7. Draw a number line. I'm going to put 0 in there, and I'm going to put some more equally spaced intervals, relatively equally spaced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's going to be right, but we'll see when we start it. So I'm going to start at the first number, which is a negative number. So that means we're going to go to the left of 0, negative 3, 3 units over. And now we need to add 7, and since it's a positive, we're going to go 7 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They're not the most equally spaced intervals. Hopefully yours are better. That means that negative 3 plus 7 is equal to 4. Okay, one more to do. Negative 2 plus negative 4. So let's start with a number line. And let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's positive 5. Start at negative 2, which is to the left of 0, 2 units over, and now we're going to go 4 units to the left of theirs because we're adding a negative. We're going in the left direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I didn't put enough tick marks, but that's no problem because I can add one there, and I know that that's negative 6. So the solution, negative 2 plus negative 4, is negative 6. Alright, so here's a bonus joke for you. How do you add integers at the zoo? You use a number lion.